Hello and welcome to episode 484 of the GodIsAGeek.com podcast. That's the GodIsAGeek.com podcast for your gaming needs. My name's Adam Cook and I am joined this week by Chris Hyde. Hello, Chris. You all right?
Hello, mate. Hello, you all right?
I am fantastic, mate. Look at him there. Look at him. Look, people watching this in the video. Look at his little face, all happy, pretending he's not just got the platinum for Elden Ring. Look at him.
Come on.
Do you know someone
Rise
else
tarnished. Rise tarnished.
I've also done it. Have you done it, Lyle Carr?
If I have, I've done it without playing the game, which makes me incredibly good at video games.
Yeah, I believe it. Yes, Chris and I literally just moments before this podcast went live both got the platinum for Elden Ring. But that does mean we don't have to talk about Elden Ring. Because it's finished now. We've done everything there is to do in that. The platinum
Nothing
means
to say about it.
nothing at all. We just have to wait until DLC now or, Game of the Year, I guess. But, yeah, that's it. It's all finished. There's nothing to talk about. Elden Ring's done. There's no podcast now. We don't need to do anything, right?
There's no other games.
There's no games in the world bar Elden Ring.
Exactly.
Well, see you guys next week.
Yeah,
it's
been a good one. Now we should talk about something, I guess. I feel like I'm going to do a lot of talking this week because I've played a little bit of a lot, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to start with a game that, if you're watching the video version, I've not got any footage of, but I do want to talk about it. So I think this is almost a case of let's get the sport out of the way for the people who hate sport, but I have to talk about it because I like sport and I like football and I like games. eFootball 2022 got its version 1.0 update, right? And to go back a little bit, I think it was September-ish last year when it was sort of first released, this new football game. Originally it was like it came to the store as it was called New Football Game, and it was like a beta, and it was not good. And then they announced it, and announced it, not renounced it. They announced it, and it came out, and I actually went to preview it for NME.com as well. And even that was not the build they released, so it was like, I guess, somewhere in between the two. I don't know. It's got complicated and confusing. When it came out, it was correctly destroyed. Like it was just bad. Like it was like, yes, it's free to play, but you had the kind of meme of people going, even though it's free, I'll still want my money back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they announced version 1.0, I was a little bit trepidatious. I was kind of like, if this is bad again, I don't know if I can take. I don't know if I can take this. Like, so
and it's important as well, though.
Yes,
and we talk about this, don't we? It is important because FIFA needs something. It needs some competition. Or whatever it's going to be in the future, EA Football or whatever.
This is the thing, right? I was talking to this about my kids. What if Konami picked up the FIFA license, which they they could call their game eFootball FIFA 23? Well, they could call it. They could actually just call it. There's probably a copy. Well, the thing is, FIFA's official name is not FIFA. It's EA Sports FIFA. Then the year. Yeah. So Konami could just call their game eFootball FIFA 23. Yeah. And how many people would go and buy that? Like, how many grandparents would buy that thinking...
Yeah.
And it would be worth the investment.
Have Konami got that money? Because that EA are balking at it. That's the whole point, isn't
it? That is also... Well, EA, there's more to it than that. EA are also kind of saying that they... From what I've heard, it sounds like they don't feel that the FIFA license is actually doing that much for them anymore, given what they're being asked to pay for it. But back to eFootball.
Sorry.
I sort of booted it up, and I was almost booting it up, like sort of sat way back here, like, fine, someone's got to see what this is about. Someone on the site needs to at least have a look at this. And no one's jumping at this, so I suppose, given my history with the game... because PES was once upon a time, PES was my preferred game of the two, and I've swung back and forth over the years many a time, but PES had some golden games. It really did. It's never had the licenses, but it's always often had the gameplay. So I booted it up, and where to start? The menus are shit, the music's crap, the commentary's dreadful still, and I don't even know who to blame for that anymore. The licenses, they're trying to get more licenses. They can't. They're not going to, they had Liverpool, now FIFA have them. They had, I think, was it Dortmund? And FIFA then went and paid Dortmund for that license and got them a few years ago. they're doing, I think, what they can without breaking the bank on a game that's ultimately free to play. So, you're sort of starting it and you're like, oof. And then what they've done is they've renamed the mode and it's now called Dream Team. And Dream Team is, to all intents and purposes, Ultimate Team.
It is, yeah.
But here's the rub. I think it could be better. Because what you can do in Dream Team, eFootball's Dream Team, is essentially, yes, you're playing and I'll get to the gameplay. You've got the football gameplay. It's kind of an RPG. Because if you buy a player, you buy them at level 1 out of, and it will tell you some of them are like 39, 42, some of them go up to 70, I think. And by playing them in matches, you gain experience for them. And then once you get that experience, it turns into points you can put into their player. So you could buy a player at 78 rating and get him to 84 pretty quickly by playing him, putting points into him and like improving his dribbling or his heading or whatever. Now, I appreciate that not everyone wants that in a football game, but I kind of dig that. Something rotten like that is right up my street. And then you throw in the fact that also there would, like, obviously tactics in football games, like, do you want to play possession, long football, counter-attacking? And if you have a manager who's kind of affinity, a bit like FIFA does this, but they've moved away from the affinity stuff quite a lot, I think, with managers. If your manager has an affinity to like the possession game and that's what you want to play, you need to either upgrade the player's affinity to possession game. Do you know what I mean? So you have to, it's kind of this, it is actual, for all FIFA's talk of chemistry, it actually matters, because if you don't have that right in pairs, like the first player I bought was just because I had some money to spend on it, was Diogo Jota, and he was like an 80, I forget, 82 or 88, and I put him in my team and he was like a 60, so I was like, what? That's because his affinity to the style of football I was playing was completely wrong, so I had to adjust all that. So I like all that, but even when I'm working, and it's not very forthcoming about explaining a lot of this, it's quite weird, and it's very pairs in that it's like, sorry, what? Just speak English to me, you know what I mean?
So yeah, like I'll chip in because I've played this briefly. I've had a bit of a dabble with the training, a bit of a dabble with the Dream Team and stuff, but not played it extensively. But my first impressions of it are, it is Ultimate Team, but it isn't, in the sense that there are very distinct differences, which I think people will either like or they won't like. I think people that are diehard fans of Ultimate Team won't like the fact you can't pack players, bid for players.
Well, no, see, this is what I was going to ask you. If you played it at a certain time today, they've added that stuff back in.
Oh, have they? Okay, fine.
So
okay.
Not in terms. So I was wondering this because they used to have all of this, and it was weird. They launched version 1.0 and then they said, hey, from April 22nd, Season 1 starts. And it's actually started today, Season 21st, as we record. And until that point, there was nothing. Like, you couldn't do it. It was just like, there were two options. You play online against people or play offline against AI. You couldn't earn decent amounts of currency. It was like, well, I could buy any player I want, which is a thing I love, by the way. I love the fact that it's not so much a transfer market. It's like, if you want salaries, 1.5 million or whatever, go and save up for him. You can now, as of right now, there are, I forget that they're called like special contracts. And within there's like, so, and this is one thing I thought was pretty cool, is that you can't like pack it looks like you can't pack the same ones twice. So there's a certain section of the special contracts that has like a really highly rated Bruno Fernandes, right?
Yeah.
But in that section, he's one of 10 players. So if you were to go into that system and buy 10, you would get him. You would get him. You might get all the other 9 first. You might get him first. You might not. So I like that. And then there's the other special contract is like 150 or something in-form players. Like, who did I get? I got Riyad Mahrez, I think I got from Man City. No, I got Bernardo Silva from City, which I was well happy about because I didn't pay anything for it. I said some currency for their server downtime I wasn't even aware of. But all of that is like, I'll give them a slight bit of grace and say they'll get there. Like they said at the start they're gonna bring other modes in. Master League's coming. They'll charge people for it. Guarantee you that they will charge you for Master League. If you enjoy the game and you've not paid anything for it yet, then I don't know if people will mind that or not. I can't answer that question. However, what I will say, gameplay-wise, I think they might be onto something. And I it was really heavy and slow and uncomfortable to play when I first played it. I feel like they've taken a few, because what they went for is the realism. They went for almost not overly animated, but realistically animated. And I feel like they've taken a bit of feedback here where people have said, no, look, we want it to look good, but we don't actually want it to be real football because it has to be fun to control. And they've taken a few animations out, sped it up a bit.
Yeah, I feel like, and again, very early observations of it, I feel like there seems to be a bigger difference between non-running and running, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So when you're not sprinting and sprint, so
Massive,
when you're not sprinting, it's quite slow. But when you sprint, like, whoa, okay, like we're going some now. Whereas in FIFA, sometimes it's less marked, especially if you're tired.
I think it's got worse that in FIFA actually. But this year's game was particularly bad for that, where it didn't. It used to feel like you've just described, like you hit the burners and you're gone.
Yeah. So I noticed that, and I don't know because I've not played enough of it to definitely say this, but it did feel like it seems to choose more of the type of pass that you do depending on the power and the direction that you're choosing to make it the right pass. I find anyway. Like for example, I might pass it or through ball it, but if actually I've put more power on it, it'll go, okay, well, to make that, I'm going to have to loft it. And
I'm with you.
Whereas, like in FIFA, you say I either want to put it on the ground or I want to loft it. And there was a couple of examples of that, and I was like, actually, would have preferred that along the ground, fizzing there. I still think it would have made it, but it made the decision. Unless I'm still learning it.
I haven't seen that. That could just be a case of like you need to fiddle with the assists.
Yeah, maybe.
But I must say, I had looked for them and couldn't find them. They are there. I know they're there. I just need to look into it properly.
But the other thing you mentioned, I just want to agree with you on, particularly in Dream Team, despite the fact that there is a tutorial, I found it very hard to navigate once I was outside of that and figure out what I couldn't find a way to put a player I bought into my team. I was like, I had to
So that's game plan.
Well, no, I know I was in there, but I was like,
okay.
where do I find
He's in
the
reserves.
player? Where do I find my there's an area for my team.
Yeah, I don't know what the point of that is.
No,
and that's how you level them up. Sorry, that's how you level them up. You go in there afterwards.
That's right. Yeah, but then there's like in FIFA, you go, here's my squad.
Yeah, and what do you want to do with this player? You
move
just
someone in and out, swap people. I was like, I can't find a way to do it.
No, it's not good.
The only way I was able to do it was to say, put the best people in because the people I bought are better than And look, I just tried to make a team that I hope United buy with our new manager because anything's better than the dross we have at the moment. But look, it's free, and I like what they're trying to do. It is a different beast to Ultimate Team.
Very different. The passing and shooting for me are what separate it. Like I feel in control in eFootball, and I will say the shooting to me has felt better in PES or eFootball, whichever you want to call it, for the last few years. The shooting to me, there's just something about the contact with the ball that it always feels cracking. And again, this is another thing that they explain. I sound like I'm down on it. I actually am really positive on this for the first time in a long time. The stunning shot stuff that they try to teach you how to do.
Yeah.
Did that make any sense to you?
No, I had
Did you get it to work?
The tutorial, if I'm honest with you, it didn't seem to like go on to the next one.
Yeah,
so I couldn't work out. I was like, no, I've moved around and I've run. I don't know what else you want me to do now to move on to the next part. So no, I didn't. I saw the controls and I saw the lovely cinematic at the start that told me there was those type of shots and
stunning pass.
And all those sorts of things. But I haven't learnt them, so I need to spend a lot more time with.
So what I will
say
is the way I was doing it, and it says basically, press R2, so the sprint button, and pass or shot, whichever you want to do at the same time. I'm like, I'm doing that because I'm sprinting and I'm trying to shoot.
Yeah.
That's not working. That is not how you do it.
So it's like
it's
at
literally
the point,
bang, and I tell you what, the second I did it by mistake. I was like, oh, well, that would have been so much easier if you just pressed them simultaneously, or just explained it, or just showed it. They used to have people used to do video work for Konami where they would tutorialize them and have the controller appear and you could see it. But it's literally like press them at the same time, and when you do it, it's like, oh my god, I nearly snapped the bar. I hit it so hard, and it's again. Listen, they're never going to get better commentary. I don't know what it is they do. It's almost like there's a way that FIFA records it that's different because you with eFootball and PES, you feel like they've gone in the box and someone's gone, right, here's a list of names, and they've gone Jota, Fernandez, and it feels like that's what they've done. And it doesn't.
Well, it's the ISS thing, isn't it? It's like, this is a penalty to Greece, and
yes,
it's like
but we've
that
moved
kind
on
of thing.
from that.
It's that kind of thing that's always like a joke, but it does feel like it hasn't seemed to, like you say, it hasn't seemed to have progressed a bit from that. I mean, it's not that bad.
I would argue this is the same commentary as the last few games. They've still got the same, and FIFA did this as well, but has got better at it. Like, you know, there was one with FIFA, like with Alan Smith, where it's just like, oh, it's like they're playing a video game. You know, there's one of them.
Yeah.
But PES has been, or eFootball has been using those same lines now for like, it just feels like too long. It's like just remove them and get them to say something different, just so it feels new.
Yeah.
But on the pitch, which is, let's face it, ultimately, because all of the shit I'm mentioning is not why you keep coming back to FIFA.
No,
you know, the thing that has made me boot up eFootball every day since starting it is, one, get me rewards, and two, play a quick match, because the actual matches feel really good. So they're on the right track. Damning it with faint praise, but this is how it should have launched. Like, this is what it should have been in September, and we should be like what they have. I mean, they've taken stuff out. Like, I would argue, it's crazy to me. Like, they are so, you know, by the time they're ready to say, oh, we've put everything in, FIFA 23 will be out. I think. I mean, we are in April now. You know, the yearly.
But I think
iteration
it was
of
almost
games,
like we can't not have a game.
But they
rival
did.
22, but
Because
then they
took
kind
a
of
year
haven't
off
got
before.
a game until 23.
They took a
No,
year
I know.
off before, so they should have just taken fucking 2 off and brought it out this September.
No, I agree. I do agree, because it does. It's hard. It feels like I know for a fact, no matter how good I feel with this game, it's not going to detract me from FIFA. I'm too far into FIFA now with my friends, and it is one of those games I play with friends. Like, that's the thing that keeps me going back.
And that's something you actually can't yet do with eFootball.
No, and it is.
People are asking.
One of those...
This is how bad it is. People are asking Konami on Twitter. They're asking the question: Are they? Or they're on the Reddit, like the eFootball Reddit. People are asking each other: Are they going to put co-op back in? Like, that's.
Yeah. And I think until those things are in, no matter how good that on the pitch thing is, I don't think you're going to be able to convince people. Because
it depends on the audience you're really going for. Like, there's no kids or teenagers going to play this, even if it's free, because they will take the piss out of it. You'll be taking the piss out of.
Yeah.
If you're playing your free eFootball while I'm playing my premium FIFA with
FIFA,
all the,
yeah.
You know, I think, you know, I don't subscribe to that at all. But you should subscribe to this channel.
Yes.
I like that.
Oh, 20 minutes of talking about. I haven't even played eFootball. It was just a ruse.
It was just to say that.
just to say I don't subscribe to that. No, I am genuinely impressed with the football. I'm worried because I'm not seeing, like, it is a massive improvement, but only on the pitch, and like, games aren't. You can't get away with that anymore. Like, it's all very well. Like in the old days. I mean, it is in the old days, so it really is. People would say, but PES is king on the pitch, and that's true. It was true at the time, and it's what makes you play it over and over again. It's not enough anymore, and it hasn't been enough for many years. You know, it's a bit like having a game that's got like a dreadful story, but it plays really well, and just going, but just forget about that. It's like this part of it. I can't just like compartmentalize it like that. It doesn't work. And they're getting there. And I let's put it this way: after September or whenever it came out, I was like, well, that's that. Fuck that then. Whatever. Yeah. Whereas now, I am not only booting up every day. I am like looking at the subreddit. I'm looking for updates. I'm interested to see where they go, and that's a massive positive. So there you go. I've also been playing a bit of Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Have either of you played this, or are you like Lego fans? Or
I like the Lego games. To be honest, if I had this, I'd probably would like those games. After bemoaning that my wife and I never play games together, this would probably be the one where I'd go, right, play Lego. Because I'll be honest, we played Lego Harry Potter together, and well, she fucking used to love just whatever the spell is. I don't pay much attention to Harry Potter, but where you could just lift someone up and throw them across the room.
It's pretty good, that.
She just did that for like the whole game and never thought it was not funny.
No, I mean, Lego Harry Potter is my favourite of the games, of the Lego games.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best.
I always felt like it worked, not just from a gameplay perspective, but the idea that you were putting Lego together by magicking it.
Yeah,
it kind of in world it made everything about it made sense, and I absolutely I think I platinumed or 100% of the trophies on the first one of them. This is weird, like really weird. Because
I've heard very mixed things about this.
Yeah,
I think I'm on. I mean, what did Chris gave it 7.5, didn't he? But yeah, other people were giving it like 9s and 10s. I think I'm nearer the 7s sort of aspect of it. I don't. Like I've missed a few Lego games, but generally speaking, I've touched most of them to the point where the formula is the formula.
Yeah.
But this one's weird. Like it, I know it got delayed a lot, and then obviously they had to keep coming, they have to keep developing on it. But I almost feel like it's not finished because, like you start it off and it's like there's an awful lot here, which there always is. They're collectathon games. That's what they are. But there's like all these upgrades and all these menus and there's spaceships you can buy and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what any of this is. You going to explain any of this? And now I started on episode 4. Okay, now people are probably, oh, well, that's not the first game. You've got to start the first episode. But the game defaulted to telling me that was the first option available.
Also, it's probably the only series where you could make a very, very strong case of starting episode 4, given what happened. But,
also, what I would argue is if you don't want me to start episode 4 and you want me to play them through chronologically, then don't let me. Because I couldn't start episode 5. When I looked around the menus, I could start 1, 4, or 7.
Yeah.
So the first of each trilogy, but nothing else. So like if you want me to start episode 1, first of all, fuck you. But second of all, make me. Which sounds very aggressive. But you know what I mean? But like it's weird. Like so you start off, and as you would expect at episode 4, you start off on as Leia. And you're putting the message in R2, and it's all fun and it's funny and it's lovely and it's charming. And that level seems like a normal Lego level, and you get to the end of it. And then you transport, and you're now playing as R2 and C-3PO, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I start looking around, and it's it's open world, so I start smashing things up, collecting things, and then I just go forward, and it's like, do you want to carry on the story? Oh, I thought it was. Okay, I'll click yes. So I get a cutscene, and now I'm where like Luke is, and where he's looking for, when he runs off and he's looking for him, and he's like in that area, like and then it's like you got to go and find R2D2. So you follow the gold logos and you find him, and he's about 5 meters away. It's like, do you want to carry on the story? It's like, but there's all this. What's all this? This is all stuff. There's things everywhere. I can look in the menus, and there's secrets and missions and No, I don't really want to carry on the story. No, I want to. What's all this? So I spent 2 hours just hoovering up, doing stuff.
Good lad.
Well, yeah, but no, I wanted to know what I was doing, and then so that do you want to carry on the story? And you're like, okay, fine, I will. So I carry on the story. Another little cutscene. I'm in the same place, and it takes me. And it's like, okay, follow R2. So you follow him to Ben Kenobi's place.
Spoiler.
I know, but you follow him, and it's like, I've been here before because I was doing the collecty stuff, and I stopped at that point because I'm like, the structure of this is so bizarre.
Yeah, I am trying to remember, because was it like Lego City Undercover or whatever it was, because that had open world and then areas of levels, I guess. And it would, I'm sure it would say it would either be really obvious you were going into a level, or it would say. But I think the reason why that made sense is because you're exiting an area that you could be exploring.
Yes.
To do something else, to go and do a level or a section that you're not going to be coming back to this for a while. But if you're just viewing a cutscene and then coming back into the same
carrying
area,
on as you were,
why are you caring? Why are you asking
this
me?
Is the
do
thing.
I want to do
and
this?
every time it's asking me, do I want to carry on? Because after the first time, I transported to a new area, and no, I don't, because I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then I did eventually do it. And it's like, oh, well, I could have just done that because I was going ahead, and it's structurally very, very strange. I will say it looks beautiful. Looks beautiful, plays lovely. I was a little bit not confused, but I was thinking about this. And I don't want to have. I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to have a go at the game for what it doesn't do, because that's not really fair, is it? I'm a little bit surprised in this day and age that these games don't have online co-op. Because
is weird.
As they've got busier and busier in terms of visual, and how games, because it does look really lovely. It really does look nice. But as games have got busier like that, I don't think I'd want to play this in split screen, really, unless I had to. But also, these days, especially given that this was 2 years of this were developed during a pandemic, you'd think, I don't know. I don't know why they haven't got. I guess they're designed to be played locally with your kids and stuff, but I would.
I mean, it's always used. The thing is, it's always used to have been, but I don't see why, like you say, in this day and age, it can't be done. Other
than that, they just haven't done it before that I can remember. But like Phil Tyndall in the comments says, in the live chat says, played all of the Lego games. I did for a while, and I sort of just ran out of. They were just too samey. He says Skywalker Saga is definitely mediocre. It's attempting too much and very little of it truly lands. This is the thing. I respect the fact that they've actually made Episode 4 again, rather than just go, well, we just chuck it in because we've done it already. Well, they've made this game again, and because it didn't have voice acting, and now it does. Not the proper voices. And you can actually turn that off, which is a cool thing. You can turn it to be like the kind of Simlish, Lego-ish, I guess. Voices, if you want to. Cool. But, But it's just not in a way that this is riddled with bugs or this is dreadful. Nothing like that. I just have this really weird kind of constant gnawing feeling that it just doesn't quite feel finished.
And it is weird. That feeling is, for me, is a weird thing. Like when this game, I'm trying to think when this game was announced. Wasn't it announced before the last film, landed?
I think so. Yeah, I'm sure.
It was never going to land at the time the film landed. But I guess the point is, the longer you leave it after, because when was that last film? When was Episode 9?
Oh God, 20.
It's a good few years.
2020?
No, it was longer than that.
2019.
Episode 9.
Episode 9. When was it? 2020.
I'd have guessed 19.
Rise of Skywalker 2019.
Yeah. So.
December 2019.
I'm not saying that no one cares about those 9 episodes anymore, but the longer you leave it after Episode 9, the ship has sailed a little bit, and you think, okay, well, if it is going to come out now, it must be because it is properly done. Do you know what I mean? If you've left it this long, to hear that the feeling is it could be better and it feels a little bit.
It just doesn't feel tied together right. It just feels.
If it was out in 2021
loose.
or 2020, but they've rushed it, and it's because they want to tie into people still the buzz of that. Do you know what I mean? But it feels like, well, if they haven't done that, then why does it feel like that? Do you know what I mean? It just feels a bit weird to me.
Yeah, and that's the feeling. That's kind of my overall feeling. I keep going back to it and doing little bits more, and then I'm like, I don't think I want to, because it just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel particularly new. It doesn't feel particularly exciting. It like Phil saying it's mediocre. I mean, that's sometimes the worst thing you can call anyone, isn't it? Being mediocre is almost worse than being bad, isn't it? I know it sounds a backwards way of doing things.
At least you're passionate about something being a bad game. I guess. But
also, his point to attempting too much, as well as I was sat there the other night and I was like, I don't know what to play, so I fired it up and I was just doing more collectible stuff, and I pressed the start button and I saw what the percentage I had done.
Oh
and
no!
I just sort of went, this is just fucking fruitless. This is pointless. And then my son walked in and goes, "Oh, you playing Lego Star Wars?" And he goes, "Oh, my mate's got 100% of that already." And I was like, fair play. I know it's the Easter holidays, but he needs to get a job or something. He hadn't done it. Thankfully, if he'd said that, I would have probably said, "Right, you're getting a job now." But it's sort of. I think if I ran out of space on the PlayStation, that might be the next thing I deleted, because I just can't see myself going back to it. It just seems all right.
Yeah.
And I kind of was expecting it to be brilliant, but
It was one of those games, I'll be honest. I was like, the source material is obviously great. There's plenty of content there. It's a decent fit for Lego. When you, like you say, you hear some of these things, you say, I can see how that could be a good fit for Lego. So I was thinking this could be something where people go, that's a really good Lego. Do you know what I mean? And it just feels like no one's hated it, which is weird.
No, but I would say I'm quite surprised by some of the very high scores for it.
Right.
I really was quite surprised. I mean, I hadn't played it at that point, but I was expecting when I played it more than I got. Like it's
Yeah.
fine. It's not bad. Very clearly to
Yeah.
say it's not bad. But yeah, I mean the last game for me this week is a game called Astral Ascent, which I've been looking forward to playing for a while, and I finally got down and sat. Lyle, have you had a chance to actually play it yet?
I haven't. No, I've also been looking forward to playing that.
This
but,
is the pixely one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know that's doing it a massive disservice. It's the game we were talking about the other week with the lovely pixely art style. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of Dead Cells.
Oh, don't say that to me.
It's kind of
That
Dead
sounds
Cells. No, it's kind of Dead Cells, except you haven't got quite the customization with the weapons. But you are going through areas to get to the eventual boss fights, and it's very, very. A lot of these games, when I see trailers for them come through my email inbox, sort of thing, I'm like, that looks cool. But if we took on every single one of these, that's all we'd cover, and we still wouldn't cover all of them because there's so many of them.
Oh, it does look good. It looks lovely.
But the thing is, again, is the look is important. But what really matters to me, and it's the only way to find out is to actually play them, is the feel. If the game doesn't feel right, it doesn't matter how. And this game, it's got that sort of Dead Cells responsiveness.
It's so interesting, isn't it? The first question you ask is, like, often I think with these types of games, just looking at it now, is does it feel like Dead Cells in the sense of like the tightness and the smoothness of the movement and I guess if you're saying, I mean, other than you saying obviously it plays like Dead Cells, is that what you're saying as well in terms of the crispness and the?
It's very responsive, very responsive. It's got interesting mechanics with the magic. So you've got your weapon and the magic stuff. It's interesting because you can't choose. Well, I want to use that spell. You start off with 4 of the same. You can get upgraded versions, but as you play, when you find a new spell, you slot it into one of the 4 slots and it rotates. So if you use spell 1, if you put it as your 3rd slot, you can't use it until you've used 2 prior.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of have to strategize around that, and it is a little bit different.
You can't just have like your staple.
No, not at all.
Okay. Okay.
And I found that quite interesting because it meant I had to sort of learn. I had to learn the icons a little bit. I've only played literally 1 run, but I was very impressed with it, and I will be playing more. But like, I was actually thinking, is this maybe a bit too easy? And then I got to the boss and just got absolutely handed my ass, and I didn't go back. But it's got that thing. I'm trying to think. There's another game that's like Dead Cells. It's a bit Hades-like in that each. So there's a hub area.
Okay.
So there's a hub area where like you do stuff like you upgrade your abilities and your.
Yeah.
And it's got all that, and it's got like some sort of narrative. This is early access, by the way. Important to note.
Yeah.
Like there's 2 characters in the hub world where one of them literally says something like, "Oh, well, hopefully I'll be able to join you soon." And it's like, well, that's a playable character.
Yeah.
There is other playable characters other than the one that's being shown on the video podcast version right now. I'm really impressed with it, actually. Like, I can't help but think I hope this comes to Switch because it would be incredible there for just like a pick up and do a run.
Yeah, which is like the Hades Dead Cells thing, isn't it? Like,
yes.
for Switch, like it's just
I'd be shocked if this doesn't come to everything. At the end of each, I'm trying to think what game. Again, it's a bit Hades-like in that is that when you get to the end of a room, you choose which room you go to next. Like you look at them and it'll tell you.
Yeah.
So you can go to I don't want to go to that one because that's got a 5-star difficulty, and this one looks like it. Oh, look, there's a rest option. I can go to the rest room and get my health back, and and it has got health. You can see in the bottom corner of the video if you're watching that you can mechanically it's similar to sort of both. Really impressed, really impressed with it. Like for an indie game to come out and. Like I think a lot of people want to be Hades and they want to be Dead Cells, but very few get even anywhere near close. Let's be honest, they're the tip top of the genre, aren't they? They are.
Yeah.
And I think this is, it's early access. That's the impressive thing. But so was Dead Cells, and so was Hades.
Yeah.
And Rogue Legacy's coming up, and that's another one that was early access. And like this, it does seem like that sort of roguelike genre works quite well in that. Like I'm quietly quite impressed. And it does get difficult. Like, if you do watch the video version of this podcast, sorry to keep harping on about that, but like, go to youtube.com/GodIsAGeek, give us your subscription, your bell button, so you don't miss all this stuff. But it does get hectic on screen, and like, there are shops like Gambits and stuff that you can go through, and then and because it's called Astral Ascent, it's about fighting the astral signs like Taurus, and like when you start the game it asks you for your star sign and it says it may affect the game, and I thought that was interesting. How's that going to work? Does that mean, like, because I'm a Gemini, will I not have to fight a Gemini boss? Because we share the,
So you just lie about your birthday.
Well, you could, but you would have to know, But, like, it's just really thoroughly impressive. Like, it's really nice when a game like this comes about. And it's been a while. Like, when you think about it, Hades was in an Nexus, Dead Cells was in an Nexus. It's been a while since one of these came along, and it was like, okay, well, it's already enough of it that's cool that I'm happy to follow this, and
yeah, totally. It's also like it's a genre that it's really hard to tear people away from the infinitely replayable other, your Hades, your Dead Cells, your Binding of Isaac, whatever your roguelike is. Like, it's not easy to break in. So hearing that there's a game that's showing that level of promise is really exciting, because it's it's nice to see something a bit new in that fun, infinitely playing type of game that I know and love. And I can't wait to play it when the podcast's over.
and of course, it's got talking dogs, so...
Game of the year.
Pretty big bonus. That's me for this week. I've been playing other stuff we'll talk about next week. Lyle, what have you been up to, mate?
What have I been up to? Well, I have been playing a game that surprised me quite a lot, actually. I've been playing Neptunia Cross Senran Kagura Ninja Wars, which is the crossover game in those two series, the Neptunia series and the Senran Kagura series. And so, how much do you two know about the Neptunia games? And how little?
Little.
0.
So I know the Senran Kagura games.
Okay, so I don't really know the Senran Kagura games. So I'm going at it from the Neptunia perspective, basically, which, I mean, it's kind of, they're first in the name, so I think that kind of makes sense anyway. But yeah, a normal Neptunia game, if you could call any of them normal, is it takes place in a world called Game Industry, all one word, and all of the characters are like are basically like physical manifestations of like game publishers. So there's like the main character is Sega, basically, is the embodiment of Sega. And there's a Microsoft, there's a Sony. I mean, they're not called that. They're called like Green Heart and Purple Heart.
Who's Purple Heart?
Sega. Kind of
blue.
I don't really know. But yeah, anyway, they're all that's how a normal Neptunia game is, and they're kind of well known for being a little bit on the fan servicey side, shall we say, in terms of skimpy outfits and whatnot. But yeah,
that side of fan service.
That side of fan service, but yeah, they're like often JRPGs, but quite varied in their style. And Senran Kagura is also a game that's kind of well known for being on the female cast, large chested side of the world of video games.
Correct.
So you hear a crossover of these two games and you think this is going to be, I mean, I'm not going to lie, a little bit horrific. I mean, that's how I immediately sort of took it.
All I'll say, yes, I agree with you. All I will say is I haven't played all of them, so I can't comment on them. But some of the Senran games, they're not actually awful. Some of them are dirty,
totally
filthy,
and it is
filthy, dirty, but filthy.
And
dirty.
I will say the same about Neptunia, that they're not all
like the actual
that either.
mechanical gameplay. Some of them, like of the Senran games, are decent.
Totally.
Almost you play it and you're like, this is a shame. This is a real shame because. But then I bet they sell well, so I suppose they don't think it's a shame.
Yeah.
But I don't even think Large Chested is doing it credit in Senran.
No, I don't know if it necessarily is from what I know. That's the game that has a game called, is it Peach Beach Splash is one of the Senran Kagura games, which is some sort of water fight game, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, two series that have a little bit of a focus that's, can be a little bit eye-rolling and wouldn't normally be something I enjoy, although I do play a lot of them. You get to this crossover, which has a ninja theme for some reason. Instead of Game Industry, the world is called Game Ninjastry, which is really
Videogamies.
stupid. It's like videogamies all over again. And then you get to the gameplay and the actual game, and it's just like, it's a very competent, rather enjoyable action game. Like, it's sort of like, maybe not quite as like in depth as, you know, like a Bayonetta, Devil May Cry kind of like character action, but like, you know, it's fun hack and slash gameplay. You do a lot, you like switch between characters, you equip them with different skills, they sort of level up as you go, so it's like a tiny bit RPG sort of elements, but not you know, full on like grinding away or anything like that. And you know, you go into each level, you
Nothing.
No, you carry on with your grinding away.
Grinding away. Okay, I'll admit, maybe not the right choice of words for now, but yeah, that's fine. And then you sort of get to the sort of story side of things, and yes, it's baffling, just the whole crossover and theme of it. But if you like the characters from these games, because they do have personalities, and they aren't. This is a series that has some. This is a series that has, you know, a decent amount of...
It worries me that the benchmark is that the characters have personalities.
Yeah. They're alive, is the other way of saying that.
They're alive.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're a fan of both these series, you know, you'll get to see each of the characters from Neptunia and the characters from Senran Kagura are kind of like rival clans who have to come together to fight like a new evil threat. So if you're a fan of the characters, you get to sort of see how they would interact with each other. It's not without some of the, as I like to call it, the fan servicey elements. In between some quite important missions, for example, you might get a chance for a rest, and that'll be in a bathhouse, because it's always in a bathhouse. No matter whenever you rest, you always rest in a bath.
And they've run out of towels.
No, they always have towels, but maybe
we have
not
to dry
large enough.
each other with our nipples.
They have we only have child-sized towels in this bathhouse.
This could be a very honest mistake that any business could have. Just ordering the wrong size of towels, totally understandable.
Or they've just put them in too high a temperature wash.
That could have been it too.
Them just before the guests arrived.
I think you could be a writer for the Neptunia series anytime you want.
That's the worst thing you've ever said to him. That is absolutely disgraceful. That's just wow. Go on, can't take it back now. You could be a writer for Senran Kagura. Wow.
There's also
the burn,
the sickest of burns. But yeah, I mean, obviously there are those elements. There are also some just really weird elements, like to buff your characters in between levels. You can do this thing called peaches and cream meditation.
Oh gosh, I can't.
Which sounds awful, but actually, I mean, it's more weird than awful in that you get your characters and they have to balance on a giant peach that's in cream, and it basically all you need to do is like, it's like manualing in a Tony Hawk game, you know, where, you know, a meter sort of goes back and forth.
And what happens if you go too far one way?
And nothing really does. I expected all of it to be terrible like that.
So they don't like fall into
the cream. Fall in, because that would be that. I mean, that's what you're expecting, isn't it?
It is what I was expecting.
I mean, I'm sat here wondering if it would be cowardly to just blur my face out of this whole podcast somehow and like just,
to not be a part of it. It's a fun action game though, and it has some slightly concerning elements. But I mean, you can say that about quite a lot of similar games, and I think at its core the action's pretty fun, and it's a decent time. I enjoyed it more than I was expecting by quite a bit. And
sounds like a box quote to me.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds, I enjoyed it more than I was expecting.
Oh, brilliant.
Maybe it'll be on the box. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, by the time this goes live, the review will be up. I actually haven't looked at it yet to say what score you gave it, so I'm guessing it's somewhere up between 7 and 8 by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I think...
You can't remember, can you?
I can't remember, no. I've done a couple of reviews since.
Right now.
Well, I don't know what to... I mean, Jesus wept. I don't even know where you go from that.
I'll admit that whenever I bring one of these games to the podcast, I kind of derail things a little bit.
Listen, the thing is that nobody covers. Nobody talks about these games very much. They just seem to happen, don't they?
Yeah, that's why I was brought into this world. Clearly,
7 out of 10. Sorry, this is. I was.
Yeah.
I think I've spent the whole time thinking you're talking about Galgun. That's.
Oh God.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ, we're not talking about
Galgun. Another time.
No, never. Literally never.
Okay.
I will not.
Okay.
Read the review.
Read the review. That one will probably be up by the time people. The other one was already up. I'm confusing my breast games. Breast-based entertainment.
That's what we call them.
That's the one. Yeah. Well, we don't. That's the public nice version. Chris Hyde, I know what you've been playing, so let's instead just go to list of correspondence. But you haven't got your theme tune yet.
Time for Chris Hyde's listener correspondence. That's going to become a thing, okay? Even if I only make it a thing.
Well, I was expecting like someone to have done it by now, but
I know, Steve.
Lazy.
So let's kick this off.
Yes.
Mick's got a load of questions. His first question is. He's asking us our favourite game that's better than Breath of the Wild. Lyle.
Okay, this is really difficult because surely the answer to this question is just what's your favourite game? Because, I mean...
Unless your favourite game is Breath of the Wild, it's impossible to answer, then yes.
But it's impossible to imagine that person too. So I'm going to say... God, I mean, I never really pick a legitimate favourite game. I just have a lot of games I really like. Today I'll say it's Lilac Wars Star Fox 64. I really like that game.
I played that game the other day, actually, on the N64 on the Switch. And it was one of those ones where I smashed the first level and then it just went south from there. It was one of those experiences where you start off, you think I am amazing, and then realise no, I'm 38 and really have really slow reflexes, and it went downhill very quickly. Adam, what's your favourite game that's better than Breath of the Wild? I think I know, right?
Super Mario World.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
I prefer that game. That's all you're getting out of me. I'm not engaging.
I'm not either. I'm just going to go.
I'm just giving you the game name and moving on.
I'm just going to go Link to the Past. And it's better than Breath of the Wild. Move on. Least favourite game selected by Lyle.
For fuck's sake, I should read ahead.
In his thread, and just to give context, if you become a Patreon,
it's worth it.
We have a Patreon and we have an exclusive Discord channel just for Patreons. And a sub-thread in that is created by Lyle, where he basically just lists all the games that he thinks is better than Breath of the Wild, and it's been going for what feels like an eternity. What's that?
Not long enough.
Too long.
Too long. And so basically Mick's asking which of the games that's been on that list do you hate the most? And I think I'm going to have to ask you for the name of it, Lyle, but the one that you brought up on my birthday, knowing it was my birthday, that was essentially just legs and dicks.
I don't know the name of the game. Dad Simulator?
No, it wasn't that one.
It wasn't.
It was this shooter with
Yeah. It's called Cho Aniki, and it's a PS1 sort of era shooter where almost every character is sort of like a mainly naked man, but in very weird ways. I think I've talked about it before on the podcast.
Because I keep bringing it up. He specifically chose it for my birthday.
Yeah, I thought it was quite funny.
So that ruined my birthday. So that's my least favourite one of the thread.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think Balan Wonder World or Land. What was that called again? That one.
Yeah. I did bring that on the. I didn't give that the better than Breath of the Wild seal of approval because it's actually worse. But one day I did bring, because I really wanted it on the thread. I brought stages 2 and 9.
You say this level is better.
2 levels of it I think are better than.
I'm going to stick with that answer then, because that's just offensive, really saying that. What was the Sonic game you put on there not that long ago? I mean, I say not that long ago. It could have been 9 months ago at this point. But the one where Sonic's like a ninja or whatever, I can't remember.
I've definitely done quite a few Sonic games. Yeah. I'm just going to say that.
It's the really.
I can pick my own if you want.
I was going to say, Lyle, what is your least favourite game that you've put on?
Okay,
there?
I thought about this because I knew this question was coming. I've read the questions, and my answer to this is Sea of Thieves, because I think, having played it since, and just seen the direction that game's going and some of the things that have happened, and just from playing it so long, it's kind of I get more and more disappointed with Sea of Thieves the more I play it at this point. I don't like a lot of things. It's just like the thread.
If I was Netflix, right, I'd be looking to hire Lyle, right, for like the next series of their I fucking forgot the name of the show, but the joke's not going to work.
Tiger King.
No, the one that everyone likes, the one set in the 80s. I'm having a stroke.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. I was just, I'll cut that and it'll sound really clever and funny. But I would be hiring him for the next season of Stranger Things because, like, the man clearly lives in the fucking upside down, doesn't he?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's like, what's not the Demogorgon because that's gone now, isn't it? All spoilers, but fuck. He's like the ultimate big bad of the upside down.
The Mind Flayer, isn't it? I think.
No,
I think that's the ultimate.
I think there's another one now from the new trailer. Which looks good.
It's series 4 soon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just random.
Sorry, I'm just trying to move it on away from.
Yeah,
that,
right.
that
Okay,
sort
moving on then.
Foulness.
Lyle, what's your favourite bird and why?
My favourite bird is the great crested grebe. I'm a big fan of that. It's got a cool sort of funky hairdo.
Just checking the picture of that. It's great.
Great.
Is that the one
the
picture you put in the Discord the
other day?
Day?
It's so yeah.
I just wondered if it had like big tits or something.
No, it's big hair, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this question has come to us from the Discord because I brought up that I quite like bird watching, and because of that, I think at least 3 people photoshopped my face onto birds. So
and various other things.
Another reason to become a Patreon. Let's be honest.
I mean,
you get to see Lyle as a bird.
Yeah, miscellaneous Lyle-based fan art is quite regularly on the Discord. But yeah, I like the great crested grebe.
I mean, I don't have a favourite bird. I remember when I was a kid, I went to Tenerife and I saw a parrot riding a little mini bike, and I thought that was cool. It was like a parrot bird show, and they like ride these little bikes over wires. So for that reason, a blue macaw. Like there we go. Look like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Adam,
I listen. I think a woodpecker will fuck you up, and that's and I reckon, and for that reason, like, I reckon
you've just gone with the bird that you think will cause the most damage or irritation.
I think they could. Like, if you look at them, right? Imagine if. Did you never have those weird thoughts when you were a kid, like, you know, thinking about, like, you know, it's akin to that thing of if a lift broke and fell, if I just jumped at the last second, would I be all right? It's that kind of thing. Like, a woodpecker landed on your shoulder and just started going to town. Like, it would fuck you up, right? So I think
it would.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
There are quite a few birds that would fuck you up, though. Really, I mean,
I think if it came to it,
go for an ostrich. There are some.
Now they would mess you up big style.
Yeah, there are some like swans. Very primal breeds of chicken that are like literally look like raptors that would just kill you. You'd die. That'd be the only thing.
Do you have a like? It's not a question, but has anyone got like a least favorite bird, like a real bird they really hate?
Pigeons can fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh, I like pigeons. They're nice.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I don't think I dislike any birds. I used to not like swans, but there's some really nice ones I go and feed quite a lot now, and they've sort of become friends.
Yep.
Is that not what? Do most people not have swan friends? Is that not a thing?
Okay. I can safely say on this pod, I've never had a swan friend.
Well, you've never lived.
Well, maybe. Right, this should be really quick. Least favourite.
Hang on.
Sorry.
I do want to talk about my least favourite bird.
Okay, sorry. Is that why you teed the question up for your answer? Right, okay. Go on then.
It's a swan.
Your least favourite is a swan?
Yeah.
So you definitely haven't got a swan friend?
No, but I really, really hate swans.
I mean, they're mainly really.
Is it because of the queen?
Dickheads.
It's not because of the queen.
Break your arm or whatever the thing is.
I think swans walk around with an air of arrogance.
But it's the queen's fault, isn't it?
But this is what I'm saying. Is I think they know it. I think they know they're protected.
They know that the queen's going to do you if you.
Yeah, like they walk and they know it because they're always giving it some, aren't they? They're always giving it swanning around, literally.
Yeah.
And I'm not the man to do it, but if someone were to start up some sort of GoFundMe that he was going to walk around the Great British Isles and uppercut swans, I'd.
What I love about that is it's
got a jaw that wants
it's not
to be
just going around and just it's specifically uppercutting swans.
Yeah, it's
they've got an arrogance about them. I mean, is that bad? I mean, I'm not sorry. I'd like to eat human flesh. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know if I should.
Uppercutting swans.
Yeah,
like, is it? It's
I
like
think
literal Tower of London crap. That is, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So we probably shouldn't advocate that.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I also think that if you spent a nice 10 minutes with my swan friend, you wouldn't feel that way anymore.
You would uppercut yourself.
Yeah, you just feel so bad about it.
Okay, right. Moving on. We've got loads of questions. Least favourite and favourite mainline Final Fantasy game?
Favourite 7. Least favourite 13 maybe.
I think that's quite fair on the least, at
13
least.
was one of the, 13's like a moment in time. I remember back then it was still like this massive thing to get a new Final Fantasy game, this huge thing, and I just played it and it just went on and on and on, and it's like, this is not fun. This is just not a good game. Whereas 7 is another one of those moments in my life. I just remember playing that game over and over again, loved it. So there you go, easy. No one else?
My favourite is 9.
9's a great shout.
Yeah, it's really do love 9.
7, 8, and 9 for me are the trilogy. They were magic that period of time. Squaresoft.
Well, then you'll not be happy that my least is 8.
Least favourite. Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
So
I get why.
Yeah.
So I haven't played very many, but my favourite is 9. I love that game, and because I haven't played many, there's not many that can compete for the least. But 15.
Yeah, I get it.
I really hated it, but I was just like,
see, I forgive 15. Because of what it gave us in the remake of 7. I don't think you get 7 remake playing the way it did without first going through 15.
I get it, and I don't hate it, and I'm sure if I played some of the others, I'd go, they're worse than 15, but I haven't. But yeah, that would probably be my answer. Based, to be truthful, I'm just going, oh well, I think X2 is crap or something because I've not played it. I don't know. But yeah, that would be my answer. I love 9. I think
7 remake's actually pretty close to being my top.
7 remake,
actually.
Yeah. But I just think about 9.
Oh, 9 remake would be. It's been rumored that a 9 remake is happening for a while.
It has.
I would. That would be so good.
That would be amazing.
This isn't really a question. Well, beer, I suppose. Current favourite stout or beer?
My favourite beer is Caffrey's.
I just don't drink a lot of stout and beer.
You don't get Caffrey's as often as you used to. It's quite difficult to find. Like, you used to be able to get cans of it in the supermarket. Not often now. It's quite a difficult one to track down. I mean, maybe it's just the area we live in. I don't know, but I like, people will go, oh, have a John Smith's. It's not the same. Worthington's is close. Worthington's is close, but it's not the same. I
just don't drink like, if I'm drinking a pint, I'm drinking like a Peroni or something. I'm not drinking like.
You're a lager drinker.
Lager, yeah.
I would absolutely drink a Peroni, 100%. Yeah, especially if it's in a pub. 100%.
Yeah, I'm just not. That's what I'm either drinking that or I'm drinking cider. I'm not drinking.
God, no, I just want to sit in a beer garden in the sun.
Yeah.
Big burger,
that would be
Peroni.
Good. Yeah, I'm kind of similar.
Are you a stout beer person or just a bottle of wine torpedo type of guy?
I do have stout and beer from time to time, but like I'm not. It's not something I'm particularly hugely into. It's more, and it wouldn't be something where if I was gonna like have a beer, I would probably just sort of go for something I hadn't tried before. So it's kind of hard to have a favorite because I'll just try something different every time. So yeah, I don't really have one either.
Okay, and then finally from Mick, I just thought it was relevant given that we've just platinumed it. Adam, just really quickly, thoughts on the new big Elden Ring patch with so many balance changes?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit tired of it, if I'm completely honest. I'm getting a bit tired of them like constantly changing. Like that was a significant amount of changes. Like that was,
it was a massive list, wasn't it?
That was bordering on the did you test your fucking game, because like you've got every major weapon there that people like or don't like, and like the only one they didn't touch is the one that we literally used today. Major note. Yeah. Thank God that we got in before. Like I was panicking because I was doing that. It's not a glitch. It's you can parry your own you ring a bell, it makes a wraith come out, and you can parry it. And literally just 2 days after getting good at that and finding that was a really effective way of playing co-op with someone, they nerfed it. I literally went today and got the one that Lyle literally put in the headline, the flies, and that's it's all right outside of bosses, but they've nerfed the shit out of that. Like, who are they listening to? That's what I'm concerned about. Which, because there's so many changes there. Like, it reminds me a little bit of the Mass Effect situation when they retconned the endings because fans complained. It's like, who are you listening to? Because if there's one community, I would say maybe err on the side of caution about listening to every want and whim. It's potentially the Souls community.
I don't think this is people moaning about it. Unless people,
you don't think it's people going, "Oh yeah, you're not playing it properly because you're using Swarm of Flies."
But I think
people moaned about the Sword of Flame and
Night of Flame. But I just think, like, for me, I'm a bit sort of. It bothers me slightly less. I was more worried that we weren't going to be able to beat that Millennial Woman easily, but whatever. She's got the platinum. Aren't they brilliant? But I do. The thing is, because not only is it like things are nerfed, but it's like, oh, we've stopped you being able to skip this bit because you found a way to skip. There's a way to skip I can't remember the name of the village. The snow village bit. We have to do those 4 torches. There's a way to skip that. That's now like literally they've like taken out a mountain or something that you used to climb up or something to skip it or something like that. They've literally changed some of the terrain so you can't do it anymore. Someone had found a way up it with torrent or something.
Yeah,
and it's just like, I'm sure it wasn't like this with the other Dark Souls games, for example, but like there were ways people were getting around stuff and you just kind of, it was just part of the game. Like you just kind of go, yes, it's not intended, but like it's just part of it. Whereas I just feel like it's just a bit like I'm taking my ball and I'm going home a little bit with like the things that you found, but like you put these things in the game, particularly the weapons and stuff. And if people because it's taken people a lot of time to like figure stuff out and like realize what works and what doesn't. And just because they're sharing what they've found with people doesn't mean you just take it all away. I don't agree with it as much as what's happened. I was fine with it when they did it with even the Sword of Night and Flame. Because I was like, okay, yeah, it was ridiculous. But they literally, there's quite a few you can list now, quite famous ones, like the Hoarfrost one as well, and then all of the ones they've done.
I never got to use that at its peak.
No, and I haven't bothered because
I don't think I've even got it.
I don't know. I'd have to check. But I just feel like, I mean, I've platinumed it because I'm great, but like I do feel like, do you need to keep doing it? Like I just feel like, if anything, to your point, they're almost admitting that they're cocked up a little bit. Whereas actually, if you just let it slide, who does it hurt? I just feel like just leave it now. Like if something's broken, fix it, but stop tweaking everything just because you're not happy that someone has found a way to easily beat a hard boss. They always find easy ways to beat hard bosses. I'd much rather they fixed stuff like the way people are like bugging out bosses, like or attacking them outside the door, than nerfing ways to beat them in the fight, if that makes sense. If I had a preference.
Yeah, they're focusing on like minor issues that only the real hardcore will notice or care about, and not fixing stuff that's like actually broken.
Yeah,
and that's not cool.
I think if there are many more, I'd be like, it's got to the point now where I'm like, am I rolling it? I mean, because I just feel like before I was like, no, fair enough, you make a couple of tweaks, but now it just feels like they're just trying to hinder people that have actually played a lot of this game, have explored a lot of the game, and have found things out, and don't really feel like you should be punishing those people. But anyway, we could spend ages on it, and we've got some other questions to get to, but I did want to talk about it because in case it mentioned, me and Adam got the platinum and we're great. McPoo asks, I'll come to you, Lyle, because you weren't part of the Elden Ring chat. What's your best asymmetrical multiplayer experience or favorite game?
This will be no surprise to a lot of people, I don't think, but Dead by Daylight is mine. Last month, I finally hit the top rank of that for Killer, which I was quite proud of myself for. Just didn't really think that would happen, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I just think, I mean, I don't like, it's hard because I don't like one of playing as one side, which is the survivor, but apparently that's quite unusual. But I just like murdering everyone. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, who'd have thought?
But yeah, I think especially like as they've been going on and all the regular updates and all the new killers, like it's a game that for me has gone from strength to strength, and like a lot of my favorite characters are more recent characters. Like I really love playing as Nemesis. I really love playing as the Cenobite. And I mean, I just think it's a really good time. It was the sort of the first game, asymmetrical game in this sort of modern time where they've sort of started to become a bit popular, where it really, really captured me and continues to. And I can't really imagine a time where I won't be playing it.
I've got one if you want. It's a very, very obvious one.
Yeah.
It Takes Two. They're mechanically different.
Yeah,
totally. Two different characters.
Yeah.
I mean, do I really need to explain why, given all we've talked about it?
No.
Probably not. Go listen to some Game of the Year pods.
Go listen. I did struggle with this because I don't...
Among Us is good, like it's fun.
Yeah, I've not really gone for the whole Among Us...
Okay.
Project Winter, like it's not, and I've never really got into Dead by Daylight, and certainly nowhere near as much as you, and there are others as well. So yeah, I'll be honest, I was struggling with this because I was like, what other ones are there? If we're allowing It Takes Two, that's absolutely
It Takes Two is asymmetrical. You are playing two different characters with two very different gameplay mechanics in each. I
mean, yeah.
You could probably put Mario 3D World in there because each of the characters have slightly different controls.
I mean, I was going to say, what is it? There's even games like Mario Galaxy, right, where like one of you's doing Mario, one of you's doing the thing
or whatever.
Yeah, so that
cool.
That counts because it's certainly better than I don't know. So we'll go with that. 1 second, because I've clearly organised and not just missed the doc. So the next question, Lyle, this might have just come to you, mate. And I think
hang on a minute.
Okay.
Dare you? How do you think of all the people that you would not ask about a Postal game?
Okay, yeah, fair. Okay, fair. Adam Cook.
Yes.
What's your favourite entry in the critically acclaimed Postal series?
I've never played a single one of them.
Brilliant.
No,
I'm so glad I came to you first.
None of them are any good. Postal 2 probably at a push. Postal 2 was.
I've not played them. There's a new one out in there, and is it like
it's got a deliberate wrong? Spelling wrong? Yeah,
no regrets.
Is
it 4?
Because I remember I was getting emails for that, and I was like, oh no, they've put a spelling mistake in their title.
No, they haven't.
That's really bad. And then I googled it, and I was like, okay, no, they haven't.
At the time, to a young Adam Cook, being able to piss on people who were on fire was funny. At the time. And Postal 2 had that. So Postal 2.
Yeah. I have the same answer, to be honest.
Wasn't Postal 1 like a top-down
it's like
diagonal?
Isometric.
Yeah, isometric.
Yeah.
And then they went first person, and they've just never looked back.
They've never looked back. I had also say Postal 2. There's a lot wrong with Postal 2. I'm not going to pretend it's amazing, but
it's dreadful.
But some things about it are like it has some fun elements.
Yes.
It's hard to deny that it's not. It doesn't have a gleeful joy about it, even if in some ways it does so horrifically.
Yes.
And yeah, this was asked because I mentioned that I was going to try 4, which might be a bad decision.
Which I was against.
You were against that.
I was against it. But yep.
Yeah, but I won you over.
Yeah, I just was like, I don't care. I just don't care. If he really wants to play this, fine.
If he's that much of an idiot, I'll just let him do it.
I mean, he even told me last time, next time you recommend I don't, I'll listen to you, because
I did say that. I actually said that.
You did say that, and then and I was sat there going, some people, listen, you've got to get stung by a few wasps before you think, hey, I'm going to keep away from the nest. Haven't you? It's at the end of the day.
Not enough yet.
Clearly.
Still going.
Review coming soon.
Yeah. Okay, Nike G asks, so he says, I've tried Souls games and failed to get on with them many times before, but Elden Ring has hooked me like nothing I've played for a long time. Have you ever had a genre you just couldn't get on with, but some game came along and changed your mind? Adam Cook.
Oh man, I was really trying to think, but
Lyle Carr.
Still
prepped.
I'm hoping that I will be the same as Nick, and that Elden Ring will do that for the Souls-like genre for me too, really. But in terms of others, it's kind of a hard one because I generally get on with a lot of genres.
This is it. Like for me, I don't really gel with MMOs, but I suppose New World. But they're kind of the only genre I tend to avoid. Like, and you're similar. There's not really a genre. I guess you wouldn't play sports games, but I don't think there'd be one that would suddenly make you go, "Oh, I like sports games now."
Yeah, I mean, I think there's quite a lot that do in terms of like usually they're the sort of fantasy sports games, or
right.
Like,
so like a Mario Strikers. Yeah,
is the
I
one.
should have said sports sims. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd say I generally struggle quite a bit with like real-time strategy. That's not a genre that I'm very good at and can manage. And I'd say that the PS2 very lesser known RTS Grimoire, which I think they recently announced is getting remade or remastered in some way. But I really liked that. I think that's a really good strategy game. It's very optimized for consoles, but I think that's kind of what I need for that genre, to be honest. I'm never going to be one of these like clicks per second monsters.
They can be very dense, can't they? I mean, I had two. One was, you've said it, Adam, which was New World. I think for me, I'd never really got into an MMO really before that, and ever so slightly grabbed me, that game.
I can't believe you ever stopped playing it.
Yeah, I had to be dragged away from just chopping wood. It's not a euphemism. The other one that came to mind, I think, was
Satisfactory.
No, see, I do kind of like those types of games.
No, I suppose Astroneer before it. We both played it.
Any of that. If I get to organise stuff, mate.
Yeah, no, that's
honestly,
fair
like that's like if anyone finds another game where, like,
I find
if,
them
like,
all the
Astroneer,
time.
like,
I don't tell you anymore.
No, I know.
I'm not going to tell him.
No, because he needs a life.
I never see
like,
the fucker again.
Like, what's that? Sorry.
I think to myself, I'll never see the fucker again if I tell him about this one.
It doesn't even have to be like all like we played Astroneer the other day again with Steve and Kieran from the Discord, and it's just like they'll just go off and actually play the game.
Well, that's what we were doing all the time. You were organising.
And then this is the thing. Remember when I tried to do something in Astroneer, I'd go, Adam, the car's down a hole.
Yeah.
You're like, I've left you for 5 minutes. I'm like, this is why I deal with storage.
You drove that car once and it was gone forever.
Yeah, exactly. But the other one I was going to say, actually, interestingly about driving, was Forza Horizon 5. So normally I don't like driving games generally because it's the series or the genre. Sorry, I'm more like Lyle, where I go Mario Kart, yes. Serious driving sim, no, because I don't take it that seriously. Like, I've played some F1 games in the past, and I'm like, oh my god, I've cut the corner and I've got a black flag. Like, calm down, can we? I didn't mean to, and it just takes the enjoyment away from me because I'm not that type of person. But that game is something else, and I know it's not the sim type of racer, but it made me enjoy racing. And that's still very much a part of it. So yeah, I've not played the games before that, and I will be very excited to play the ones that come after it. That blew me away. So that was the other one that came to mind for me.
I almost said Forza Horizon 4 for pretty much the same reason. The only reason I didn't was I enjoyed Burnout Paradise quite a lot, and I mean I know that's maybe even more arcadey, but like it's hard to say that genre entirely eludes me. Yeah.
I think it would be Persona. I've forgotten the name of the game. The Musu Persona game.
Oh, Strikers.
Strikers, yeah. Because there's a Japanese name. Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors nearly did it for me, but
I have a copy of that because I snagged it.
Which one?
Oh, the new one.
Because I'm talking about the original one. Nearly did that for me.
The Switch one.
Age of Calamity.
Because it was like weirdly cheap on Amazon all of a sudden, like 15 quid. And it's like, Switch games don't do that. And I don't like these games, but I do like Zelda and maybe Wonder. And so I bought it, and I have it still sealed, and I do, and I've also got Fire Emblem, and I think it's not actually all about the gameplay for Musus that I don't like. Often it's the settings. Like, I really am not interested in medieval battlements and stuff in your what are they called? There's the two series: Samurai Warriors and the other one, Dynasty Warriors. I'm just not interested in that era in terms of a gameplay perspective. I don't find it interesting. I think, like
me neither, to be honest.
Okay, well, fair enough. But the fact I did like the Persona one because of the persona-ness means I reckon if I tried the Fire Emblem, and I think I quite liked the demo of the original. What was it? The second one, the Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, there was a demo for Age of Calamity on Switch, wasn't there?
Yeah,
there was.
The Hyrule Warriors means I actually played that. There's clearly loads of games.
It was on 3DS, wasn't it, as well?
What's that?
It was on 3DS as well, wasn't it?
The original was,
yeah. Yeah, it was Wii U.
Wii U, and then they did a 3DS one that had a few extra features, and then they did that definitive Switch.
But I loved that because it was like 3 different Zelda timelines all merged together, and there was like loads of characters. And I know all those characters, and Zoe knew all the characters, and I was like, I can almost get past the fact that it's just the same stuff over and over again. But there's a location that I know from a game, that you know what I mean, and it was almost enough, but it wasn't enough. For me, it was probably the closest I've come to enjoying them. But but now we have the most important question of the pod. It's a philosophical question, but it involves Lyle, which is why it's important. So Matt King asks, and Lyle, I want you to come to the answer to this first. If Lyle farts in the woods, but no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
I find this question quite difficult from the perspective of I don't understand why I'm not in the forest if I'm in the forest.
Well, I think, I guess the question is obviously a play. Obviously, it's a parody of the normal philosophical question. I guess the question needs to be: if Lyle farts in the woods, but no one else is around to hear it, does it make a sound to anyone else? I guess, but that doesn't roll off the tongue as easily because obviously, if you fart in the woods, then you hear it. Because
I am going to hear it, and even then, even if we change the wording, I'm still not really sure how we could be uncertain if it makes a sound when I am definitely there hearing my fart thunder through this quiet forest.
Would you say your farts are quite thunderous?
It depends on the diet of the day, doesn't it?
You don't have to answer that. As your court-appointed lawyer, you don't have to answer that. That wasn't a listener question.
Damn.
That was personal curiosity.
Yeah,
I don't have an answer for this question. Is this before I end the podcast? I don't.
I just think I think in the nature of how it's asked, of course it makes a sound because Lyle's there. Lyle's there
silent but
farting,
deadly?
and therefore it makes a sound because he hears it. So
he does a silent but deadly.
I have been known to do them.
So then, wouldn't have made a sound in the first place unless it just did that sort of. You know when they're really bad, when you just hear a, and you're like, oh,
you're like, that's gonna rock it up.
That one's gonna be the worst of the day. I mean, I don't do that very often, but I know somebody does.
Chris.
How? No, it's clearly not me.
It's just not important if it is it?
Well, no, but it's gonna. I'm not going to say what I was going to say because it's gonna incriminate people. But anyway, last question is a joke question. But I have this is going to be. So
it's not really
asks,
going to work visually.
Well, I have attached the picture to help, but no.
Yeah, but
basically this question is, which has the best box art? And Dane is asking us to compare the box art for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Because if you didn't know, the box art for all those 3 games is incredibly similar. So it's a bit of a joke. I have an answer. I have a personal preference.
Okay.
I think the best box art is Xenoblade Chronicles.
Why?
Okay.
I think the sword of the Monado is more mysterious. The thing in the background is more interesting. And that is about all I have to say on the matter because they're all very similar. Because I'm not really that precious about the 3 of them. But yeah, if I had to pick between those 3, I do think that Xenoblade Chronicles original is more interesting.
They're all basically the same. My choice was going to be the 3rd one because there's lots of people in it, and I think that's like you can look at them and be like, "Oh, who's that? Maybe I'll play it."
Oh, who's that? Yeah, no, fair. Adam,
I don't care.
Well, of course you don't. No one cares.
Oh,
but Dana's asking
a question about caring.
We all care because that's what Chris High's listener correspondence is. We respect the questions.
I like the first game's one more because it's just a sword in the field. It's a nicer piece of artwork.
Yes,
good. 3 just has too many people in it. Sorry.
Whoa.
Just too many people. And 2, it's just neither. It's the middle one, isn't it?
It's the forgotten middle child.
You know, who wants that? There you go. Done. Simple as that, right?
And that is the end of Chris Hyde's listener correspondence for this week.
Okay, so you're going to do that every...
Until Steve gets off his arse and does something, then yeah.
Lazy.
Okay. Fine. On that note, thank you very much for watching or listening to this podcast. I'm going to leave the artwork up there for Xenoblade so you can decide for yourself which one's the best. Chris, Lyle, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Everyone else, go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek. Give us your support. And you know, there's loads of stuff on there. And there's more stuff coming. There's already an article. There's going to be another article next week that you're only going to be able to read if you're a Patreon. There's podcasts coming next month. There's all sorts. So it's a really good time to up your membership or re-up if you've lapsed. So yeah, thank you very much, and we will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.